Episode number 229 with Dylan Thomassie. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike, still in lockdown.
Yes. How's the quarantine going?
It's whatever, Steve. I need to get to work, but I don't envy the politicians right now. Let's put it that way. I don't know what the fucking answer is, but yeah, I'm doing my part. Okay. I've only left this house to take walks and to go to the grocery store. In the last month, I probably go to the grocery store 3 times. And
okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right you're welcome, America.
Yes. Courtesy of Michael Snyderman.
I mean, as I am this country's leading citizen, you know, I have to, I set the standard, Steve. I stick to it.
The pillar of excellence.
Talk the talk and walk the walk, baby.
Yes.
How about, what do you, all these protests have started now.
I've seen a bit of that on the news.
You know, all these people who are leaving out and driving, parking their cars in front of the government mansion, you know, in front of the state house or whatever, and demanding the states reopen. And now some states are kind of reopening, and some are still on full lockdown.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah. Vegas even is the mayor was asking to reopen everything up.
I should have watched that because I think Dylan's living in Vegas now, right?
Yeah.
That would have been a good. Sorry, Steve, I did not too, because that supposedly was just a really fascinating interview.
I just saw a blip of it on the news. I didn't see the full thing, but yeah, interesting times.
But it's tough for this woman who's the mayor of a city which is literally desperate. I mean, you know, that's Vegas. There's nothing going on when this
just built on tourism. Yeah, I mean,
well, if people aren't traveling, never mind going there. I mean, if it's, you know, even if after this we sort of go back, you know, half, you know, part, there's probably still going to be international restrictions, and you know.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the Strip just desolate. You know,
somehow they just got to hope football season starts on time, because that'll bring the people in. They got an NFL team. They got a hockey team. Get back up in time for the hockey playoffs, NFL season, World Series of Poker in the fall, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I hope they postpone the World Series. We'll see.
Well, they already did.
Oh, they did. Okay, they came out with that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it will not be this summer. They postponed it, and they said they're going to try to do it in the fall.
Okay, cool. Good deal.
Hopefully the seniors event will be after October 15th, Steve, so I can play it. I'll be 50.
Wow, that's right.
I was saying
you're going to be 50 this year.
I was saying that would be that'll be the next event I play. You know, I mean, even if it was this summer, I'd still probably be going out. But yeah, that's one I do not want to miss for sure.
Right.
If I'm eligible.
Well, you'll be a spring chicken among your other players there.
Yeah, but I will, of course, I will not see the positive and feel like the youthful person. I will be like witnessing my own future and realizing how, you know, how fast my obsolescence is approaching here. But, you know, whatever. So what are your feelings on the restrictions here, Steve? On the one hand, you are a businessman who probably sympathizes with these, especially these guys who are small business owners.
Oh man,
it's one thing if you're an executive at an airline industry, you don't have to worry. Government's going to bail you out. Billionaires will be fine. And supposedly, like some of these, I just saw things. This lady at a coffee shop, all her staff left, and she can't get them back because they make more from unemployment.
Wow.
So this kind of the people at the bottom are at least being sort of taken care of. You just and the people at the top, but you know, like you said, you're small businessmen and stuff. These are the guys that are just.
That's what my buddy Danny is going through right now. He's got he's got a business of window coverings in the city I live in, Ventura, and he gets all this stuff from China. So as soon as this thing hit China, all of a sudden now he can't get window coverings, blinds, and all that stuff. So he could make sales at that point, but he couldn't supply them. And then now China's back up and running, so he can get the stuff, but now he can't make any sales because no one will call him out to his business. And it's just like this sick, you know, horrible catch-22 moment that, this is, I think, hit hard as them.
Yeah. So what are your, on the one hand, you got you know how bad it is to have the economy shut down as a capitalist yourself, Steve, although apparently you have a plan for when things get worse, you're going to make money off it. Smart fellow that you are. On the other hand, you're a fireman. If they're, if these, you'll probably be helped dragging the bodies out of these nursing homes. If somehow a more vicious strain comes and we got dozens of bodies and,
Oh, we're already seeing it. I mean, we've seen people infected by COVID, and there's a huge, there was a point at work where, normally we run between 10 and 12 calls in a 24-hour shift, and we were hitting like half of that, like 5 or 6. And that was across all stations. There was definitely a lull for about 3 weeks. It's starting to pick back up again, but people are very leery. Not most of our calls, but a good percentage of them, maybe 20 to 30%, involve the elderly, I'll say 70 years and older. And there's a real hesitation on all of them where, it's obvious that they're having a stroke and they don't want to go to the hospital because they're worried about COVID.
right.
And it's like, well, these are going to be irreparable, these are going to be permanent damages if you don't go to the hospital right now and get this stroke taken care of. And it's been hell convincing him to go, so I've definitely seen it there. I see people driving with masks. Have you seen that? They're the only one in the car, but they're wearing a mask with the windows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know enough about the disease. It's probably, if you're going to go out, it's good just to have the mask on to get in the habit of not touching your face. And
yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's other than not infecting other people, not catching it, but there's also that merit to it. But yeah, I think we talked about it last time. It's like a partial reopening of the casino, of the economy, would not certainly help me out at all. I don't think. Like, casinos would be like the last thing that should be opening. And if they're opening where, you can only have 6 people at a table and you got to wear a mask, it's just not, people just won't go.
Yeah.
They're going for the social experience as much as playing the poker, I think. So it's like, yeah, that would be the, it might be a while before, I don't know what I'm going to do here, Steve. I still haven't got any unemployment. Apparently I didn't fill out this shit properly.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm an idiot. I've gotten 3 separate things in the mail. We need this information, we need that information. So I just, basically they want proof of my identity, even though they have my social security number and my address, so I had to send out some Geico bill and a picture of my driver's license and a W-2 and,
Oh man, that's got to be so frustrating because you're basically dealing with the DMV over mail.
Well, this isn't the DMV. This
no, but I'm saying it's a government entity, so it's incredibly inefficient. And now you add that on top of people that have to work from home, and you got to do it all by mail, man.
Yeah, I think most people talked about how good and fast it worked. Probably if you just had a W-2, but I didn't really have that.
Yeah,
because I pay my own quarterly thing. But then I remembered I do have my cash from a tournament last year, which was more than 5,000. So that showed income, and hopefully that'll be the. But once again, Steve, I'm stupid. I wasn't like right away. The very first day this happened, I should have immediately my first thought was, okay, I can deal with like 4 to 6 weeks of this and I can survive. Where it should have been immediately like, get unemployment, get every dollar you can. Don't spend any money. This could take a year. This could be, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I still don't know how to, unemployment, but you can also, with your state unemployment, you're not the person to ask for this because you're working full time, but I think you can also get government assistance to augment your unemployment.
I don't know.
I thought I had to establish the state unemployment first, which is like a max of 440, but the federal government will give you another 600. But I think I need to show that I'm getting state unemployment first.
Okay.
I don't know, Steve, whatever. It's, let's hope it ends soon here, but I don't know. The death count has been kind of slowing down, I think, but
it has been leveling. I noticed that. I remember when we had Carlos on, it was like doubling every few days. And at least in the counties here that I've been watching on the news, it's definitely slowed down, kind of leveling out. So that's good.
Yeah, well, maybe the worst projections will be off, but we don't know that. I mean, originally there were, but of course there's always people people were saying, just doing the math, if you did like, if 1 out of 1,000 people who get this dies or something, and the whole country gets infected, or I think it was actually the first it said, they said 1 out of 100
Okay.
is it lethal for. So if you get, basically so there are some people are saying projections of over 1 million people will die. And now it's still pretty high. 50,000 is a lot.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll be well short of, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall see. We shall see.
If I start getting optimistic, just get Mike Pearson on the phone and bring him in, and
we'll dial you back down.
He's interesting, isn't he?
He was.
All you got to do is just start him on a conversation, because that's really a great pleasure in life, which I really don't get too much, where you just, conversation.
Yeah.
At the poker table, you talk about, you go over the same shit all the time. You hear about the sports bettors.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So it's, he's a good to have. I don't know if, hopefully you got some positive feedback over that episode, but I enjoyed that one.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, his perspective too, I like his idea, what he's talking about, building like a little oasis out of some of the roughest terrain. I think that's pretty cool. And he actually did it. I remember we were talking about him, buying some land out in the middle of the desert. And next time we talked, he's got it.
His idea of oasis and yours might be different, Steve.
It's quite different. Yes,
his is probably still some tough rural living here, and yours is yes.
Yeah, no, my idea is a
beach in Thailand, 5-star hotel.
Yeah, with a cute girl bringing me umbrella drinks. That's
yeah.
My idea.
You're not going to get that at the Pearson range, I don't think.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. To each his own. To each his own. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Dylan. I'm curious what it's like quarantining in Vegas. I think this is going to be interesting. He'll be able to give us a firsthand account.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think he's probably a steady earner online, and what you've seen is probably a big spike in online volume. So this might be actually good for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, we'll find out. Shall we bring in Dylan?
Sure.
All righty. Take a quick break, and Dylan Thomassie.
I got supersonic speed that I used to run to you. I stretch my arms for miles and miles and wrap them all around.
I'd like to take a second and thank Tournament Poker Edge. I swear by their videos. I think a huge part of my success as a winning tournament grinder is Tournament Poker Edge. All their videos, just watching those videos over the course of years, and getting in touch with all the pros. I can't thank the site enough. And if you guys sign up, you'll get a 20% discount. Use the code HUP month, HUP quarter, HUP year, and check those out. Look at the free videos, and yeah, love the site. Dylan's going to be coming out with a new series on there of a live sweat. We'll talk a little bit about that. And yeah, great site, tournamentpokeredge.com. All right, without further ado, Dylan Thomassie. Dylan Thomassie, thank you for coming on the show.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, yes. And so the question on everyone's mind, how is it in Vegas right now?
I mean, this whole thing has been weird. I mean, everything's shut down. You know, me and my girlfriend, we used to go to the local bars, like a few times a week probably, and not doing that anymore. Not seeing all our old friends and, our familiar bartenders and
no shuffleboard.
No shuffleboard. No, none of the bar games. I'm saving some money probably, but by not doing that. But yeah, it's weird. I can't go to the casino to play. I don't know. It's crazy.
Huh. Well, in my experience, your shuffleboard skills seem to pay for your beer drinking consumption. But
that's true. That's true. I can offset those expenses with shuffleboard. That's true.
Yeah, I paid a lot of lessons learning that you were far better than me in shuffleboard.
Those were good times for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured that out. You're talking about the TPE meetups.
Yeah.
Yes.
The game there.
Yeah.
I was thinking that this was some code word for homosexual trysts, and I was just going to stand back and let you guys.
And we
Oh
probably,
yeah, I met
we probably-
this nice young man from Honduras, and we played a little shuffleboard.
I'm sure we played a few games, right, Mike?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taught you a couple lessons.
So you just grinding a lot on a personal level. You just grinding a lot online. Is this not really affecting your
Yes.
look at the bills or?
Yeah. Besides it, like, like not being able to go out and do stuff. Yeah, I've just been grinding online like normal. Yeah, nothing. For me, like, I'm pretty much like a homebody anyway. Like, I don't go out super often. So it's not like, I'm not like depressed or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just been grinding online as much as I can. And
so pre-virus, what was your ratio of live to online play? I mean, other than playing some of those win series where you pretty much all the rest of it was online, WSP.com?
well, I would actually say this year and probably like late last year, it was a pretty even mix because there's been so much going on here as far as live tournaments. Like Venetian always has something. Like every other month or so, I'd say they run a series. And then the Win started putting together more tournaments, and it's always nice to play there. So I was doing that, and then the circuit came around, I think 2 or 3 times, in the past 6 months. But yeah, so there's been so much live stuff going on lately that I was playing a lot of live and just kind of just mixing it up with online.
Any luck in the circuit online series? They had a long one with a bunch of events, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I didn't. Yeah, I don't think I had any luck with those ones. But they have another series running right now for another week and a half or so. I final tabled one a few days ago. Got 7th or something. But yeah, so there's a lot of good tournaments online. Obviously, online traffic's booming right now, which is good. So yeah, just keeping my focus there and studying whenever I can.
On ACR, that is it.
Yeah, ACR's been good too.
Okay.
I prefer to play as many WSOP tables as I can, and then just to fill the rest up with ACR and a little bit of Ignition.
Okay.
But yeah, those tournaments are big. The fields are big, and it's always nice to bink something on ACR.
Yeah.
Well, the poker players there might be the least concerned about the future of Vegas because they're like, oh, I can always move to other casinos. I can always play online.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure a very large percentage of the population there, of course, so many of them live and work in the service industry, have to just be terrified of the future here, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe that terrified might be too strong a word, but you don't really know when this is going to end. And
yeah, just that uncertainty is probably pretty scary for a lot of people. I've seen, all over actually, like you've seen like those riots almost. People protesting, they want to get back to work, they want everything to open back up. And it's crazy to think about, like, we're supposed to open up, like, I think as far as I know, like almost everywhere is supposed to start opening up May 1st. So sometime in the beginning of May, and like the virus isn't just going to go away, so it's kind of crazy
right
for me to think about like all of the stuff opening in Vegas when there's still a lot that needs to be done. So I don't know. It's going to be weird. I'm not going to go anywhere.
And a lot of course, if we go into a major depression, that's going to be
a
lot less people taking their yearly trips to Vegas to see a show and go to the hotels and play blackjack, I would think, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be doing much outside of my home for at least another month. Like, I just don't know what's going on. Like, I prefer to be safe if I can and not risk anything. Yeah. So, but yeah, nobody really knows like what's going on. It feels like it hasn't really affected me that much. Just as far as like getting sick and like, nobody I've known has gotten really sick or anything like that. So it doesn't feel like as bad as it probably could be.
Mostly your friends and the people communicate are poker players, I'm guessing. I mean, do you have any friends who are like dealers and floormen and the people who are maybe who are certainly going to be more affected by this?
Yeah, I do for sure. Even some friends in like the restaurant industry. My brother, he
Sure.
works as a manager at a restaurant in Nebraska, and he was feeling sick the other day. I don't know. He says it's been kind of like flattened out. I guess it's not getting any worse, but I think it's still kind of lingering. So I don't know. He wasn't sure if he had it or not. But yeah, like I don't know. I just prefer to just keep as safe as I can, and
Sure.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
really know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I won't be playing any live poker for a while.
Not
That's
for a while.
Sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, we've joked about on the show that if you're going to get COVID, that's the number one way to get it.
Oh yeah.
You're just
There's
trading cards and chips every single hand.
So
People are
dirty.
eating at the table, like
chips, and yeah, just playing it in a casino is just disgusting.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
think
I can
about,
tell
like-
you when I become tilted, I'm no longer going to stuff the chips on my mouth and spit them on the table, which is the way I used to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to find a way to express that in a more civil manner.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that anymore.
That's great.
Quickly, I guess I wanted to talk about the virus a little more, but now that I just hear about the live tournaments, this is something I come up now that I really stopped playing tournaments. I mean, are those things fucking beatable, man? You got so many goddamn pros in Vegas coming out there. I mean, I know there's a lot of lunatics, but you get the rake and everything else involved, or is this?
Yeah, for sure they are.
They are okay.
I actually think Vegas is probably one of the tougher, I guess, areas to play as far as like field strength and stuff like that. But like, there's a lot of different tournaments going on. $400. I would say anything like under 1,000 is going to be like way softer than anything over 1,000, because we have like 1100s and 1600s pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
And those will be a little bit tougher, but still, like, you have so many recreational players here, like people with money that like to play poker, and they make up for, I think, all of the pros. And even like all the pros are still making a ton of mistakes, myself included. So
sure.
Yeah, they're still beatable.
I've just looked at the numbers, and to me, it's like irrefutable. I think the average, good 2-5 grinder, does better than even like some of the 1%ers of the tournament world. But I could be wrong there. I think there's just too much variance, and
yeah, there is a ton of variance for sure.
Too many people who love the tournaments, but I don't know.
I know. I think I'm one of them. But
speaking of tournaments, Tournament Poker Edge, I really haven't looked too much. Are you still making videos for them, or?
I just
got one coming out, right?
Yeah. So I recorded a live session in January, which this took longer than I wanted for it to be finished. But so I recorded it in January. I had 4 tables left. And so I just started recording, and I was like, well, let's see what happens. And I think I ended up
something.
Yeah, so I ended up with like 3.5 hours of recording, and I had 2 wins and a 7th or an 8th or something.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So if anybody's going to watch that, there's a spoiler for you. I didn't spoil it in the video, but I did just now.
I don't think that's spoiling it. That'll probably bring more people to it.
That's a selling point there, sir.
Okay.
Actually, come to think of it, maybe there seems like they used to do a lot more of those. The live sweats.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'll be looking. I don't think I've watched one of those in a while. Now that I think, of course, I mean, I've kind of stopped watching videos altogether. But
yeah, so in the video, I asked, for feedback, obviously, after each part. I think it ended up being 4 parts or something. But just ask for feedback. Like, I think people prefer that live sweat. Not prefer, but they like it. It's easy to follow along and see like how the tournament's moving, like game flow and all that.
You get timing, which you don't get in the hand history reviews. I mean, when you're watching a hand history review, they'll just hit click and they're okay, he raised. Yeah, but when you're watching it live, you're like, well, he took 20 seconds to raise.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much more to like. There's just so much more that you can see what's going on, like as the tournament's going, and it's really cool to me. Like, and then I can just give my thoughts over how I played a hand and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think it's going to be a really good video. I'm not sure Diego, TPE guys didn't give me a date when it's coming out, but I would assume maybe next week or so.
Okay, cool. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
That,
So hope everybody likes that
Do
one.
you watch TPE videos? Do you study at all?
Every once in a while. So I'll watch TPE videos here and there, but I have access to Run At Once.
Okay.
What else? Upswing, Razor Edge. Yeah. So I'm all over the place as far as videos.
How many hours a week would you say you study here?
It kind of depends. If there's a lot of if there's like a tournament series going on where I have to play like more days than I usually do, then I won't study as much. But I don't know, like nothing crazy. Maybe like 5 to 10 hours a week studying.
Okay.
That's still a significant amount. I mean, over the course of a year, that's
so like
hours.
Every time I play, I'll mark some hands, whether it's just like push or fold spot, or like a hand that I wasn't sure what I should do on the flop. I'll just mark it, and then usually the next day or two I'll go over those hands.
Okay, then you got a dozen in there or whatever.
You have some
real quick.
You got some people you discuss hands with?
Yeah.
You know,
I have
people's names if you want, but I was okay. I'm
just
always
some old backers and friends and
right on.
Yeah. A lot of
it's
CP
important
guys
to have
still.
a group like that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask this if this is a good Carlos question, but maybe you can answer it too. He's probably more on top of what's the TP videos, but for someone like me, lazy, who doesn't like studying, but let's say we get the WSOP in October and I find myself very committed to spend a month of studying to get ready. Can you think of any videos of the last year, not by you, but by others, which would be like, oh, this is a good one to watch?
Well, from TPE or anywhere?
Well, from anywhere. TPEs was, specifically. I just started the Daryl Jace one, the 2650, and that's really
he's
good.
Always really good.
Yeah.
Daryl Jace he's so like unorthodox but still like able to like explain how he's playing, whatever hand we come across. That it's always nice to watch that different style of poker. But yeah, I think any video on TPE is going to be a good start. If you're trying to prepare.
Okay.
I don't really think I favor anybody too much over anybody else.
The Andrew WSOP reviews are really good. Those are kind of neat because
Brokos.
Yeah.
He
walks you through like at the beginning of each day. He kind of walks you through what your mindset would be because he's done this tournament 10 times or whatever.
Right.
Had several deep runs.
He has a stamp of authority. He doesn't need to explain. Yeah.
And he's like, okay, we're into day 4. This should be your mindset. It's like, okay,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, he's a very smart kid. I actually bought his last book. It was Theory. I don't remember, but I bought his book.
But it was good
because I'm not like
Game Theory for Half Dummies or something. It was called. I think.
Exactly. I think that's exactly it. But I've never been like I'm like really good at math, but like I've never been like a huge math guy as far as poker goes, which may sound weird. I don't know.
Right.
I think I have like a more like exploitable style of play, or I like to exploit others,
right?
Manipulate stack sizes and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so like reading his book kind of like opened my eyes to a few different things. But yeah, kind of I think I'm the same kind of player.
Right.
I've always been.
When you say study, like watching videos, or do you get into like the solvers and that kind of thing too?
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not like a big solver person.
Right.
Okay.
I kind of just go by like, just like experience, I guess, is played a big part in me like improving my game and learning stuff.
I know one big thing I've always admired about you is your bankroll management, and you started that when you were just a kid, like 16.
Mm-hmm.
That was instinctively. I had Phil Hellmuth on the show, and he said that's the number one thing.
It's really important.
Yeah, for a poker player.
I don't remember if I talked about this when I was last on, but I started playing like dollar tournaments. Like they had those on PokerStars, they had the $4, 440, 180 mans. Grinded those forever, $1, $2 MTTs, and all my friends made fun of me. You know, they'd all play $20, $50 tournaments
with a $100 bankroll.
Yeah,
reload, just paying a fee every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And you know, even if you went on the big tracking site was officialpokerrankings.com. If you went on and looked my name up, you could scroll down all the way to the bottom and see dollar tournaments and just see how like the buy-ins progressed and you know the wins and the results came, and it was fun starting off. It was fun to think about like those times back in the day when I was just starting off and building a bankroll.
How old are you now, Dylan?
34. I just turned 34 a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so you've been playing for about almost 20 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I guess probably
15.
Yeah, but
okay.
Probably professionally for about 11 or 12.
Okay.
So
that's
yeah.
cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Steve wanted specifically to talk about. Why don't you say, Steve, here? This is a conversation. I'm actually gonna go off and toast myself a Pop-Tart while this goes on because I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, open face Chinese. I got access to kind of a private game, and OFC is is on there, and I've been watching some videos on it. I used to play it on my phone, not for money, but it's an interesting game. I don't know that it can ever be solved. Maybe it can, but yeah. So basically, the rules, like you get a Barry Greenstein called it. He said you want to build the foundation from the ground up. So you're going to get 3 different hands. You're going to get a 5-card hand, then another 5-card hand, then a 3-card hand. And the first 5-card hand, which they call the back row, you want that one to be the strongest. Then you want the middle row, the next 5-card hand, to be the second strongest. And then the last 3 cards, it's going to be a 3-card hand. The front, you want it to be the third strongest. And if it's not, then you foul. And as long as the other guy didn't foul, he wins.
Right.
And you get a total of 13 cards. So let's just say we're playing heads up to keep it simpler. Each player is going to get 13 cards. You're going to get dealt 5 of those initially, and then after that, 1 at a time. That's I'm trying to think of what else. You don't want to foul. The way they score it. Sorry, Dylan, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I've been playing. I don't know if they have this one on the version you're playing, but it's called Pineapple, I think. And well, there's 2 different variations that I've played. One of them is the scoring system, or like the way you set it, with the bottom being the best and the top being the third best. But you get 5 at first, and then for the next draws you get 3.
And you got to play
cards.
2?
Discard 2, yeah.
Oh, discard 2 or play 2?
I'm sorry, discard 1.
Okay.
And then you set them until you're finished. That's the one I've been doing. I haven't played the draw 1 in a long time.
Okay.
And then the other one I've been playing is it's low in the middle.
Mark Aliotto mentioned that one.
That one's, yeah. I actually have a game with him and Derek Killingbird.
Okay.
It's been going on for probably 2 years now. But so that one is best hand on the bottom, like normal, and then you play low in the middle, and it's deuce to 7 is the nuts basically. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and that gets you to Fantasyland.
Okay.
Where Fantasyland, if people don't know, is where you get all of your cards at once, and then you set them. And your opponent
which is an enormous advantage because you get to see what your entire hand is. There's no folding in this game, so it's not like you can look down at 7-2 and go, "Oh, I'll move on to the next one." No, you have to play these 13 cards.
Yeah. And so actually, in the Pineapple version, you get 1 extra card. I think if you go to Fantasyland, you get 1 extra card.
Oh, so that's an even bigger advantage.
Yeah.
So you kicking KB's ass?
Yes.
Are you forcing him to crack open a cheap domestic, every few days just
Is he
to
having to
form of
drink a
punishment?
Bush instead of
Yeah.
a IPA?
Yeah. And actually, Mark's taking the brunt of that damage on that. It's a 3-way game right there.
Okay.
Okay.
So Mark's down quite a bit. But yeah, so I've been playing that low in the middle mostly, and I like that one a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that's just another like twist on it that makes your brain have to.
And you actually have to do. So, like I said, deuce through 7 is the nuts. Deuce 3, 4, 5, 7. But you have to be. They have to be deuce through 10, all different, or you foul. So you can't have like.
Oh, you can't have a pair.
Can't have a pair. You can't have 2, 3, 4, 5 jack.
Okay.
Where you foul.
So it's got to be 10 or lower. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is.
Obviously, an ace is high, so you can't have an ace.
Okay.
But that's pretty easy to do. Like, it's really easy to get 5 cards in between 2 and 10.
Okay. That would really dictate where you play your. I guess you kind of already play your low cards in the middle, anyways, in the other version. But you're looking to make pairs, not to unpair.
But basically, my strategy is to just always go for Fantasyland. So I'll put I think you need Kings plus up top. Yeah.
Okay.
And then so you'll have Kings plus up top, and then whatever 2 pair on the bottom. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's way easier than any other version to make Fantasyland. It's because you can just throw whatever junking you want in the middle.
Okay.
Is this just a fuck around game with friends, or did you learn the game to? I'm guessing the edge is bigger than No Limit Hold'em, and have you found some good profitable places to play the game?
No, I don't play for any real money, like serious money. I play on the app for I think we're doing 10 or 25 cents a point, which cannot add up, but there's also a site called Seals with Clubs, I think.
Yep.
And it's it's like a Bitcoin poker site.
Yeah.
And
I thought they got shut down. No, they're still.
He did get shut down, but he reopened it. I don't know how. I don't follow all that. I just play. I try not to worry about
Yeah. So most of these, when you set the limits, if it's a 50-cent OFC game, then it's 50 cents per point, right?
Right.
Okay. And the way these points, I'll just describe them real quick for the listener. So if you're paid on points, the way the points work, let's say, remember we have the bottom or the back row, we have the middle row, and the top or the front row. And we have 5 cards in the back, 5 in the middle, and 3 in the front. Let's say you have your first 5 card hand, because you're playing a single opponent, your first 5 card hand in the back row beats your opponent's 5 card hand. Let's say you have a flush and he's got a straight, then you get 1 point for that, because that row beat your opponent's. And the next row you get you also beat your opponent's 5 card hand. You get a 2nd point. But the top row, he's got a pair of deuces and you have ace high. He wins that one. So for the round, you would get 1 point because you got +2 and then -1. So it'd be 1 point to you.
Mm-hmm.
We could take the reverse of that. And let's say your opponent wins 2 of the hands and you win 1, then he gets 1 point. And what's interesting is when you win the bottom and the middle and the top, so you beat your opponent by all 3, neither one, or you haven't fouled and he could, or if not, then you get what's called a scoop. You get 1 point for each one, and then you get an extra 3 points for beating all 3. Mm-hmm. So if you're playing 10-cent OFC, then you'd win 60 cents. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about this is you kind of alluded to it with Fantasyland, is you can get extra points for having strong hands.
Right.
So in the back
royalties.
row, royalties. Yes. If you get a straight in the back row, the bottom one, you get an extra 2 points, which is whatever the limit is. If you're playing $1 OFC, you get an extra $2. If you make a flush, you get 4 points. Full house is 6, quads is 10. And like that, royal flush is 25. Mm-hmm. And then there's also royalties for the middle row. If you've got 3 of a kind in the middle row, you get 2. Straight,
double.
You get 4.
Steve, I'm nervous that at least 3 of your listeners have already jammed this hunting knife into the side of their head. Listen, long-winded Nobody's possibly going to absorb this unless they already know the game, in my opinion.
This is just too much.
I think so. I'm sorry. I had to just point that out.
Yeah, but what you're
I
saying
don't
is,
understand any of this, and I consider myself a pretty smart guy. But there's other people who probably totally absorbed and want to learn a new game, Steve. So, but I'm just throwing my opinion out.
Okay, yeah, maybe we're getting lost in the weeds here. I'm glad you're on to kind of put me in check.
Dylan, by the way, you're allowed to say, Steve, that's a stupid question. It's actually encouraged. He takes it so well. I've beaten this puppy down so much, it's kind of expecting a swat in there. You know what I mean? Okay.
I don't mind the OFC talk. It's a game I enjoy playing. Definitely just for fun, like I said.
How long would it take to, it takes an average intelligent person can be a winning player at No Limit Hold'em Cash pretty quick just by saying, just play the strong hands, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out the people not to pay off. Because I really don't know any other games. Like I'm told, like PLO, if you want to be really good at that, that's a massive. Just to be a winning player is a massive investment of time and effort. Is OFC closer to? I'm guessing closer to PLO than it is to No Limit Hold'em in terms of building edges.
No, I think there's a bigger edge than PLO and closer to No Limit Hold'em. Probably.
I've heard that if you're decent at OFC and another player really doesn't know what he's doing, you can have a massive edge.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas in Hold'em, it's a little more even.
Well, I think the edges in PLO are running a little bit closer than together than No Limit Hold'em, just because you have 4 cards in PLO. As far as if you ever get it in pre-flop, you're never going to be more than I think a 60% favorite or something like that. Whereas in Hold'em you can be 80, 90% sometimes. But for OFC, yeah, I think if you're playing like a beginner and you're an experienced player at OFC, you're going to crush him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be fair at all.
So your strategy, you mentioned it, and I watched an interview with Sean Deeb about this game, and he said he's always trying to get to Fantasyland.
Yeah.
And so he was dealt queen, 8-9, ace or something, and he throws the queens up at the top.
Top, ace, middle, 8-9, bottom, probably.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're to qualify for Fantasyland, you need queens or better up top. Obviously to beat queens, you only need aces or kings. So then you go ace or king in the middle, and then you just try to get 2 pair or straight on the bottom. And I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
But yeah, it kind of gets a little tricky when you're dealt something maybe ace, king, and then 3 random cards. Because then you don't know if you should put you don't know if you should go aces on the bottom, kings middle, or try to set it up for aces on the bottom, kings in the middle, queens up top.
Okay.
Or do you set a ace in the middle, kings up top, and then whatever on the bottom to try to
see? That's the one
pair.
I would usually take, is I would put the ace in the middle and then the king on the top, and then try to make something on the bottom. But
yeah,
I don't know.
It just becomes a little you're probably gonna foul more often by doing that, just because it's hard. If you end up pulling an ace on your next draw, then you have to put it in the middle, and then now you have to beat a pair of aces.
Now you got to be a pair of aces, and you're scrambling for 2
and
pair.
you have nothing on the bottom.
But the fantasy land is so profitable. It's kind of like chasing a gutter ball and No Limit Hold'em. It's I'm never going to see this. I'm going to get paid if I hit it. Is that?
Yeah, it's
the payoff is just bigger where you're willing to gamble. And
well, there's no luck factor really in Fantasyland. You just have all of your cards, and then you set them as
most profitable
optimally, as you can. Try to make as many points as you can. So there's no guesswork when you're in Fantasyland, and obviously, if your opponent's playing an aggressive style, he's going to foul pretty often, and you just win all those points when you're in Fantasyland. So yeah, it's definitely good to go for it as much as you can. I think.
What are some
finding sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what are some basic strategy tips and some mistakes you see beginners make and like that?
I think actually beginners probably aren't going for Fantasyland enough.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier, though, I haven't really played the regular version in a while. We've been playing a lot of low in the middle, so it's a little bit different. And maybe they, like a beginner, might want to try with low in the middle first. So I think, like I said, it's a little bit easier.
Okay.
You're gonna foul less. But yeah, I think not going for Fantasyland is probably a mistake. But I would just make sure, like, like what you're doing if you are gonna go for it, and like how you want to how you want your hand to play out, like in your head, even though it may not always pan out that way. Trying to think of some more tips, and I don't know. It's kind of
think
it's easy to teach, but hard to explain like a good strategy, I think.
Okay.
Easy to teach like how to play, you know what I mean, but like hard to explain like.
Do you, like, generally speaking, do you want to like fill the maybe not fill, but start filling the bottom and the middle rows before the top row, or?
Yeah, I think if you want to foul less, yeah, for sure. So kind of again, it depends like how you see your hand playing out, but like, so let's say you have like, I think a common set would be like maybe like 2 suited cards on the bottom, and then 2 straight cards in the middle, and then like whatever, queen, king, ace up top.
Queen plus on top.
Yeah. So now we're going for a flush on the bottom, probably a straight or 2 pair in the middle, and a queen or better up top, or queens plus up top. So we want to build that flush first. Okay. Whereas instead of like, I've done this before where I get dealt, I'll have those first 5 cards set, and then I'll get dealt 2 cards that improve my middle, but now my bottom still only has 2 cards. So I'm kind of building my middle before my bottom, and then I end up fouling.
Yeah, you end up getting 2 pair up top or something, and you never make it flush. So like that's one that I'm wondering is like, let's say you got 3 to a flush on the bottom, and then you have 2
Steve's
low
very
cards.
indecisive. Steve likes top and bottom. You know what I mean? He's having trouble making a decision here.
Yeah, I get it.
And you got 3 to a flush on the bottom, and 2 low cards in the middle, and then the next one comes that'll pair the middle, but it'll give you the 4th flush card. You got to put it on the 4th for the flush, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Unless your middle is so like, I guess like discombobulated that you're not really going for anything other than like 2 pair, then I would probably put it on the bottom. Yeah. Okay. I was saying like if you had like if you end up just screwing up your middle and having to go for 2 pairs, so something like maybe like 2, 7, 10,
in the middle,
like and like 3 flush cards on the bottom.
Okay.
But one of those flush cards pairs your middle, then I would probably go for a pair in the middle.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense. In my head, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because you're not going for such a specific card, like where you would need.
If it was like 7, 8, 9 in the middle, then you got a possibility for a straight. But with 2, 7, 10, you're just kind of effed all the way around. You got to make a pair somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And there's just there's still whatever 9 flush cards to help. So yeah, I mean, it would probably take, like, if somebody wanted to get to learn OFC, I would probably be able to teach them pretty well. They could message me. It'd be easier to teach them along with playing a hand in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just put the app in front of their face.
Run it once.
Yeah.
Are there training videos now for this game, or is this just kind of off the?
I don't know, actually. Okay.
Everything I got was on YouTube.
Yeah, I haven't. I never looked any up on Run It Once. I could do a quick search and see if there's anything. But
I'm sure there is somewhere.
Probably.
I would think, this just occurred to me. The incentive is to become a really great at this game. It's also, if you can just get your hooks into one whale. I always said I'd never use the words whale and fish, but whatever. I've crossed over to the dark side here. Just because someone's giving away a lot of money in poker, that doesn't mean anything. They're still probably a hell of a lot smarter and doing better in life than me. But you know what I mean? You can get heads up.
Yeah.
where, you know, like a real whale shows up in a No Limit Hold'em, you know, live casino. It's just a fucking war to see who can get the seat next to him. But if you get on an app or whatever, I think it was one of Joe LaPinta's friends who played heads up with a guy, PLO in Atlantic City, and like basically played heads up with him for like 3 weeks and cleaned him of like 200,000.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So I don't know. He was very lucky that no one else sat down, or maybe this other guy just, you know, I didn't get the specifics, but
That's crazy.
yeah, I just think if you find the right person, that would probably be why a lot of the big pros love the game, not just for to learn a new game, but I'm guessing there's the potential for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that could happen if you find the right player for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty nice.
When you're playing, do you have in the back of your mind, you're always going for those extra points, you know, like getting a straight or getting a flush that gives you royalty points?
Yeah. So I'll just refer to the game that I'm doing, which is the low and the middle version. So I'm basically, I want to always go for the deuce 3 4 5 7 in the middle.
Okay.
I don't want to give that up ever to start the game when I'm setting my first 5 cards. But I'll always also try to go for kings plus up top. So it's kings or aces only in the middle, when you're playing low in the middle.
For Fantasyland.
Yeah, queens don't count.
Okay.
But then I'll also just always try to go for at least a straight on the bottom. So if it ends up not working out where I have to screw up my middle, that's fine, because that's where you can save yourself from fouling. And I think where probably the least amount of points are made are probably in the middle, because so I think deuce 3 4 5 7 is 4 points, and 8 low is 3, and 9 is 2. I think something like that.
Okay.
So there's not that many points to be made, but getting the 2 3 4 5 7 is, it gets you to Fantasyland. So that's where your actual points are.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think there's a stat line you can see if you like click your name on this app, where it shows you like what your how many points on average you're making in Fantasyland, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'll always try to go for like a straight or better on the bottom. Always go for the low in the middle if you can, the nut low, and then, I mean, obviously that's kind of obvious, but I would definitely start by not ever giving up my middle, if I don't have to.
Okay.
I would think, to be bad at this game would be really terrible for a person, because it would take a while to figure that out. No Limit Hold'em, you're like, okay, 3-8 was not good there. Yeah, I should have figured that out. But here you can just be throwing the cards in every direction and be like, okay, this looks like.
Yeah, you got 13 cards and you have to play all of them. Yeah.
I actually had a friend who was kind of learning, and he had played for a bit, but he was still like learning how to play. And we played, and I beat him for a decent amount. And then he's like, "Oh man, I think I'm getting this. I think I'm getting it." He's like, "You want to play again?" And I was like, "I don't care." Do you?
It's on you.
I was like, "Oh yeah, up to you, man."
It's like me with shuffleboard after my 6th beer. I'm gonna get him this time.
Exactly. And yeah, we ended up playing again, and I beat him again, and he was like, "Fuck this." But yeah, so I think there's a pretty big edge to be had in OFC.
Okay.
Especially if you're like just learning, because a lot of it comes down again to experience. Like you've had this exact same set of cards before. How can I play it the best without fouling? How can I get to Fantasyland and all that stuff? So, I think a lot of it comes down to like how you've seen hands play out before, and remembering all those times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah, it is. I took a screenshot of a couple of hands, like to start. Okay, so there is position in this game, so there is a button, and it rotates. If you're playing heads up, it rotates every hand just like it would in Hold'em.
Mm-hmm.
And we're dealt king of diamonds, jack of diamonds, 9 of hearts, 6 of hearts, 5 of clubs. And if you're playing not the low version, but best, second best, third best. Would you play the King Jack of Diamonds on the bottom and then the 9-6 up?
Run the cards over without the suits.
King Jack 9-6-5.
And you have King Jack of Diamonds.
Yeah.
And then the other, there's one more suit.
9-6 of hearts and then 5 of clubs.
I would probably go. Since you want to try to get to Fantasyland, I think royal flushes are really, really hard to get. So you don't really ever want to go for a royal unless I think you get probably 3 or 4 to a royal dealt.
Okay.
So I would probably do Jack 9 on the bottom, 6-5 in the middle, King up top.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I just completely up that one up. All right. So Jack 9, you're saying on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're kind of going for a straight, right?
Straight or 2 pair or full house, whatever.
Okay.
And then same thing in the middle. You're going for a straight or 2 pair.
Okay, so then you play the 6-5 and the king up top. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I would go for like a flush. Like, so if you had like Jack 9 suited, I think that would have been more obvious to put on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then the king up top and 6-5 in the middle. But yeah, so like I think another spot I come across often is like being dealt a pair, like a low pair.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a scenario like real quick off the top of my head where
what, like 6-6?
So if you had like, let's say you had like Jack 2-2 6-5.
Okay.
Jack 2-2 6-5.
Yeah. What do you do with the twos? Do you put them on the bottom or
choose on the bottom? Yeah, because now you're just trying to make a bigger 2 pair than
or 3 of a kind
the middle. Yeah. And obviously Jacks and 2s would be bigger than 6s and 5s.
Okay.
So yeah, and then there's I'm trying to think of like another scenario, like 2 pair. 2 pair is kind of interesting. If you get dealt like something like 2 small pairs, like 2s and 3s, like do you put them on the bottom or? So sometimes I think I will put them both on the bottom. It kind of, if you're in position, it helps to see like what your other opponent has played.
Okay.
So again, if you have like, if I had like Jack 2-2 3-3. I may go Jack 2-2 on the bottom and 3s in the middle.
Now, why would you do 3s in the middle instead of 3s on the bottom? Because 3s are stronger than 2s, and
maybe
the bottom has to be the middle.
Maybe I said that backwards.
Okay, so Jack 3-3 and then deuces in the middle.
Yeah, I can't remember how I would play that. I actually don't think it would be that big of a deal, only other than like drawing a 2 and a 3, then you're in a really bad spot. So maybe just Jacks and 3s would make more sense there. But yeah, there's so many different scenarios. I'd have to start playing that game, that specific version again to remember. I think it'd come back pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's a fun little game. It's interesting.
It is. It is.
I think I'm just dangerous enough to think that I could play for money now.
what kind of win rate? They say even an excellent no limit hold'em player is going to win 60% of the time they go to a casino. Is it a higher win rate in terms of percentage of victory here? I mean, are you actually throwing games sometimes to Mark Eliotto just so he doesn't catch on to how bad he is? No,
I actually played him. I had played him for a lot too, and he was kind of the same way as my other friend, where he just wanted to play. I don't know if I ran really good or they were just making so many mistakes. I can't really remember.
Right.
I feel like I ran pretty good, but they're really swingy too. So I don't know like how big of a win rate is possible, but I think if you're playing
if you can get your ass kicked in any card game if you're just getting bad cards.
Yeah, that's true.
Getting cool or whatever.
It was funny when I called Mark asking him if he played OFC. He's all, yeah. And I said, do you want to, we're having Dylan on tomorrow. Do you want to come on? And he's all, oh, Dylan's the guy you want to talk to.
That's funny. That's really funny. We played I think $1 a point. This is a while ago, probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I won't get into the details, but it wasn't that good for him. And that was the highest I ever played too, so it was like kind of a big deal for me. But
Right on.
Do you still get Steve? I'm sorry if you want to go back to the strategy.
No, you're good. You're good.
Question here because I'm what was I going to say? Yeah, you still love the game. I mean, you enjoy work each day when you fire up the computer.
Poker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I really do. And some days can be worse than others for sure. Like I'll be a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? Be a little
Frustrated.
Yeah, frustrated. Maybe like pessimistic about like maybe like going into a session sometimes, not all the time at all. But yeah, I
Percentage of
think
your time. So the frequency of you saying "fuck," I can't believe I have to play poker today. I just need to, that doesn't happen very often.
no. If I don't want to play, I'm not going to play.
Right.
I don't really ever force. I think that's one thing I've always been pretty adamant about is not forcing myself to play, which has always kept me fresh, I think. So yeah, I think just going into a new session with a fresh mindset and like a good outlook on just playing your best game is pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, it just got me thinking about like Big Dog and Mark, some of the people who've kind of have moved beyond poker. I don't know if it's incredibly further because the game has become boring or if they found other things that interest them, but just, I mean, 12 years is a long time to be a fucking poker pro, man.
It is. I'm ready. I'm ready to find something else eventually. Probably in the next like I don't know 3 years or so, something like that. 3 to 5.
What interests you? Still gambling or something completely different?
I have no idea, honestly. I don't know. I can't even answer that.
Another lazy ass poker pro who hasn't had matching socks on in 2 years is going to fucking go to law school. Sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
Once you're your own boss, it's kind of hard to do anything else, I think.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know. I just don't know. It could be something within poker. It could be some other kind of I don't know, like maybe like something in investing or even just like coaching, like poker. Like I don't know if I'd want to run a stable or anything like that, but
I've gotten into stocks in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun. Reading the graphs, trying to predict which way it's going to go, following trend lines, and you might like that, dude. I think if you're interested, I can screen share with you and show you exactly what I'm doing. I think it's right up your alley.
Okay, I know my brother used to do a little bit of that, and he was actually pretty good at it for whatever reason. He was never like a big math guy, but he could always understand graphs and stocks and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that would interest me for sure.
The guy that taught me, he a lot of his clients are poker players.
Yeah,
and he said there's something about that poker and chess, and he said there's something about that just that game that attracts a certain kind of people, and they're also good at stocks. And I found the same.
Yeah, I had a good friend out here in Vegas that moved to Chicago to do that, to be like a day trader.
Huh.
And actually,
must have been for a company. Why would he move?
Yeah, it was for a company.
Okay.
I don't know. I actually don't think it ended up working out for him. I think it was maybe a little too intense.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm not sure exactly. I think he's back into poker now. But
most of what I do is it's not day trading. It's called swing trading. So it's like you kind of buy something and 3 weeks to a couple months is when you sell it. Or I'm playing a long-term game now with the stock market just taking a shit. Most of the stuff I'm buying now, I have no intention of selling for the next 2 to 3 years. What is your opinion on the stock market right now? Because I would be buying as much as you can. Because isn't it not doing that bad? Isn't Trump just like pushing a ton of money into the stock market? And it's holding the stocks up? Sort of. Everything, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find something that didn't fall, recently, except for maybe bonds or something that are going to give you a few % a year. Everything just completely took a dump, and it's on its way back up.
Well, yes, Trump did put $2 trillion to make sure the airline stocks didn't go to zero, and But I remember I'm looking at it now. The Dow is at 23.6K, and it was under 20K for a little bit, right? Like earlier this month or late last month.
if
I'm
I
not
recall.
sure about the Dow, but I can tell you the graphs. They all just took a complete nosedive in about 2 weeks, and
Yeah,
they've been slowly recovering over the last 4.
I'm just surprised that they're not like. I just don't understand how they are recovering with nobody
Well, this is
doing
what my
anything.
mentor taught me, and I think it applies to this, is he said, you can't think of the stock market as like it's an inherent, kind of like value, I guess might be the word. It's like what's moving these lines are the billionaires that are
Mhm.
putting money into hedge funds,
No shit.
and it's driving the price up. So the poor and the middle class and guys like us buying 100 or 200 shares at a time does nothing to
Right.
influence which way the graph is going. It's the
Yeah.
guys that are sitting on shitloads of cash that have been waiting for this moment, and they're dumping a shit ton of money into the market now because it's cheap and everything's on sale.
Okay.
That's what's moving the line, not necessarily what Joe the painter is doing in his business.
I always kind of thought it had a lot to do with like what's going on, like with the actual economy, though, too. Like,
No, yeah, it doesn't.
no, not at all.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
no, I mean it will. I mean,
Dylan wasn't asking Steve for like from an investment perspective. He was asking for just kind of. Isn't
I
it
mean,
weird
kind of
that-
both.
Yeah, I mean, but it isn't it weird that the entire country's suffering, but somehow people are getting richer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just.
Well,
yeah,
in
the
every
stock
down
market-
market, I mean, that's where you make money is when shit's on sale. You know,
Mhm.
if you're panicking and selling right now, you're doing exactly the wrong thing.
Right. I mean, I've heard of people say that they expect the stock market to crash again.
I've heard the same.
Okay.
I've
So
heard the same.
that's why I was kind of holding off too to do anything. I wasn't going to do much, but
The way I'm reading the graphs right now, what's interesting is I'll try to describe this as best I can. There's a certain buy and sell zone, if you can think of it. It's called a stochastic line, and it's kind of measuring volume, and it's an indicator of whether it's generally a good time to buy or generally a good time to sell. And if you look over the S&P 500, there's been 12 of these incidents where it's gotten really down, and it's everything's on sale over the life of this. Of those 12, 8 of them have gone down maybe 50% or so, and the other 4 have gone down significantly lower than that. And we've now reached a point, now being on the 13th one of these drops, that it's about halfway down. So if 8 of the times it's gone halfway down and come back up, and 4 of the times it's gone all the way down and come back up, I think it's more likely than not we've already hit the bottom and it's on the way back up. So
interesting.
you may want to hold a little part of your bankroll. Let's say you got $5,000 to invest. If you haven't already started putting it in, I'd put in 3 now and maybe hang on to the other 2 just in case it's like they're talking about.
Huh? Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, I've never really looked into it like that, but yeah, definitely.
But if you're
curious.
if you got an extra few K or something to throw in there, my dad has been talking to me, and I just throw it in the S&P 500. That thing makes 11% over the long run every year.
Right.
Like it's just a powerhouse, and it's still on sale. I mean, it's probably not going to get back up to what it was for another, for months. And it's still cheaper than it was 6 weeks ago by a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd put it at that personally.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
At what point does the national health affect the stock market, Steve? So what happens if we have 20% unemployment in 6 months?
I don't know.
How are the investors going to make money there?
Dude, if I could tell you that, I wouldn't be a fireman. I have no idea.
What happened with the big crash? When was that? 2008?
Yeah, that was another big one.
What happened there?
I don't know. I think that was a lot to do with the housing market. Maybe people weren't what do you call it? What's the word? Like confident, I guess, in the market. So it's a big sell-off. But that was another great opportunity to make money.
Yeah,
I mean, like if you had some cash laying around after that crash happened, that's where you can really make like 3-4x over, a couple of years.
Right.
And you just can't touch it. The longer you keep it in there, the less taxes you pay. So if you're doing this day trading shit, you're you're really paying Uncle Sam more than you would if you hold it for a year or more.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's that game to it too.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's always interested me. So
I think
we'll talk
a
about
line
that
from
again.
a line from a David Mamet movie. There's a thief who's talking about money. He's like, "Of course, everybody loves money. That's why they call it money." And just the certain words to Steve. It's like if you use the word investment, that's how it started. You use the word investment, and Steve just, if I said, "Steve, I'm going to eat a can of peaches," he'd be like, "Ah." I said, "Steve, my stomach is going to invest in some peaches now." He would want to talk about peaches.
You're right. I do have these little keywords that just trigger a response.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it's a fun game, man. I think moments like these, like when the stock market just crashed recently, I really believe in our lifetime we'll probably see 8 of them. And for us at our age, 3 have come and gone, and we didn't even know they were there. We might have another 5 if we're lucky after this one, but probably only 3 or 4. So it I think that's where you gotta strike.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, Steve. We never thought Donald Trump would be president.
True.
I mean, there's just when your graphs which tell you what the future is going to be. I hate to just be skeptical of that, but we don't know. I just think this whole virus. You've heard me ramble on about the same thing for a few weeks here, though.
Well, they definitely do not tell you what the future is going to be. It's basically kind of like you get dealt pocket 10s on the button and it's folded to you. Over the long run, you're going to make 4 big blinds or whatever from that. But in the moment, you could lose 27 or you could win 83 or you have no idea. You get these little setups on the graph that 60% of the time this one's going to go up and the other 40% of the time it's going to go down. And those are the patterns that you follow.
Mm-hmm.
You have a knowledge of the uncertainty ahead is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not certain. Jesus, no, this is gambling. Don't get me wrong. But there's definitely setups. I mean, like you described before, 8-3 is not a hand you want to play, but kings are. And you'll win more often with one than you will the other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Steve, you might be in trouble for if this podcast ever had 20 million listeners, where you became a national celebrity, I think there's a good chance you'd be kidnapped and stuffed in a closet like Patty Hearst for a political orientation. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to be careful here. Times of, but you know what the Patty Hearst is, right?
No, I was laughing just to be.
Just to make me feel better.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Anyways, American Harris from the Hearst, the Hearst newspapers and everything, and she was kidnapped, and they really tried to brainwash her, and they were successful to some extent. But she was literally locked in a closet half the time, and eventually she started robbing banks for these. But she was a target, Steve, because she represented the system, if you see what I'm saying. So just got to keep an eye on you, just in case the investor class becomes a target for the rabble. I'm looking out, Steve. I'm looking out.
Yes, you always are.
So how about WSOP this year? Are you? What do you? I guess we can't really make any predictions. I know Vegas is going to do everything possible to make sure this sort of thing happens.
Yeah. So obviously we've been canceled for the summer, or not canceled, postponed, I guess is what they said. But yeah, I was talking to somebody, but I was thinking that there's just so much money to be made for them that I don't really see them not doing anything. So I think they'll try to do it in the fall if they can, and maybe do something online this summer.
Yeah. I think there'll be a big online market.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for people that will have to travel, or I don't even know if they'll do something in
international or something?
Overseas somewhere.
Okay.
Just not in the U.S., and then they'll run another one in the U.S. I'm not sure what they'll do. But yeah, it's not going to be super fair for U.S. players. I guess any way you look at it, unless you're in Nevada or New Jersey.
Your mayor was talking about opening everything back up.
Man, she's crazy.
What's your opinion of her living in that city?
I didn't know she was that dumb. if you watch that interview with Anderson Cooper yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, I couldn't believe some of the stuff she said. Like she wants to open everything back up, you know, because people are protesting and getting upset and need to get back to work and all that. I get people that they need to get back to work. I get all that, but like she had like no plans in place to do anything. She was like, that's not my job. You know, like
as a leader of the city, it's not
yeah,
her job.
yeah, like
Can't be bothered.
she's like, these casinos need to open up, but I don't know how they should do that. They need to figure that out themselves. She had nothing. She had no plan. Like it was absurd. Like I couldn't believe like what she was saying. Like
She's Steve showing up at a fire and just standing there and lighting a cigarette, just looking around, barking out orders.
Right.
Somebody put water on that thing.
It was crazy. Like I didn't even know, you know, I didn't know anything about her really until that interview. And I hope people saw what kind of person she was and don't reelect her if she's, you know, she's up for another term, because that was enough for me to like not, you know, like take her seriously. And you know,
Yeah,
she's not doing what she should be doing.
yeah.
When people are really stupid, you don't give them like a second, third, and fourth chance to. You got all the information you needed in that interview.
Yeah, I mean, I did for sure, but there's probably some people that, you know, think she's good for.
Well, I think
the
Vegas is like more than most cities, like a protracted kind of shutdown of the economy has got to hurt that city more than others. Like
Oh yeah,
as we discussed.
for sure.
They really got to better make sure that opening day of the NFL season is in place, because that'll bring the crowds for sure.
Yeah, it will.
Oh man, I hope that goes through. I don't know what I'd do without football. Are you kidding me?
Do you pay attention to the draft?
I did not. No. I like it for fantasy football, and then this football pool I'm in.
Yeah.
So strictly for gambling. I can't seem to watch a sporting event unless I've got some money on it. I don't know what it is. It's like this sickness.
Yeah, or like a home team.
Yeah, or a home team. I can watch that without having money on
Right.
it. But
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty much the same way.
some kind of skin in the game, you know what I mean? Whether it's even just a single fantasy player, I can root for the guy to catch a ball, you know? I don't know.
Like I've always enjoyed sports, but I just did my first fantasy football season last season, and yeah, it was crazy. I watched every game.
Right? Doesn't it make it so much better?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah.
I've got this player. I need him to do this and this and this. Or anti-sweating another player.
Exactly. Yeah. Throw an interception, anything. You know?
Yeah.
It gets you just involved in the game.
They made it a lot more fun for sure.
Yeah. Was it a season-long one, or were you doing DFS?
Yeah, season long.
Okay.
Just with some friends here.
Right on. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
For the amount of money that you make, it's certainly not worth the effort. I think I'm probably at a few dollars an hour for the amount of time and effort that I put in over the last 7 years or however long I've been playing it. But my God, it's fun.
Yeah, it's like waking up early to make sure your lineups are fine. Nobody's injured.
Nobody's injured. Yes.
For me, it's early. I had to wake up at like 8 or 9 on a Sunday to check my lineups. yeah, but I'll be damned if you weren't awake, right? Like, regardless of how late the night before you can roll over and check your phone. Set an alarm for that.
Yep. Me too. So true.
But yeah, who knows what's going to happen this year? I imagine things will be back to normal by then, but
I hope so.
There's still so much uncertainty right now.
Yeah, true. Right on. Well, do you have anything else, Mikey?
No.
I fell asleep.
No.
OFC and football talk.
I have a headache, Steve. I hope it's the coronavirus. Sorry, Steve, I can't do the podcast. Call me when I'll let you know when I'm better.
Yes. OF what?
Someone hands me a vaccine. I slap it out of their hand. No, thank you.
Take my chances. Cool. Right on. Well, thank you, sir. And thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
You can't give away what you don't have. Now, it sounds ridiculous, okay? But it's more than what meets the ear as you hear this. You can't give away what you don't have. People who are not good at giving away love can't give away love because they don't have it to give away. If I want to give you a dozen oranges, I can't give you those dozen oranges unless I go out and pick up 12 oranges someplace. Otherwise, all it is just empty rhetoric. And the same thing is true of virtually everything in your life. You can't give away love for others if you don't have love in here to give away. If what you have in here is contempt, if what you have in here is anger, if what you have in here is fear, then these are the things you're going to be giving away in your life.
Loving yourself is the most powerful thing we can do. Then everything flows. Everything flows beautifully. And I'm not talking about vanity or arrogance, because that is not love. That's always fear. I'm talking about just really respecting and appreciating this incredible, magnificent being that we are. You know, little babies know how to love themselves. You were born in pure love, all of you. There's not one little baby alive that I know of that ever criticizes its body or ever says, my hips are too big. They're just thrilled and delighted that they have a body. And they rejoice in it. And they love themselves. They love their toes. They love everything about themselves. They absolutely adore, they express their feelings. You know, when a baby is happy, you know it. When a baby is angry, the whole neighborhood knows it. They're never scared to let people know how they feel. They live in the moment, and they're filled with courage, and they're wonderful. And we were all like that. Got to remember that you were filled with courage, and you were full of love, and you adored yourself when you were very little.